disrupted.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So going back to the White House Correspondents' Center, the pathetic mess that it is, we have to hear from what Joe Biden had to say about the press gallery that attended this. And Joe Biden is going to give a sloppy, big, wet kiss, like a creepy uncle would, to the press for their due diligence to report exactly what the White House and the establishment points and directs to them.
That's why I want to close the night with my genuine thanks to the free press. There are some who call you the enemy of the people. That's wrong and it's dangerous. You literally risk your lives doing your job. You do. Covering everything from natural disasters to pandemic.
What dangers? What dangers were they in their journalism? Going from their penthouse to the $30,000 studio that they run. What dangers did they encounter? What sacrifices had they made in their career? There's people out there that are in jail. There's people that are being tortured. There's Julian Assange. There's Gonzo Lira. There's the journalists in Gaza right now that are being persecuted by Israeli terrorists. What fundamental sacrifices do these people have the right to clap and applaud for themselves for? Oh my God, I had to choose between a green tie and a blue tie. Such an ultimate sacrifice. I guess I'll go with the gray. I was going to be colorful. Oh, now I feel bad. Yay, Like I said, the White House Correspondents' Dinner is just a joke, a mockery of the ideals of journalism. And if we actually had journalists out there, they would not want an event like this. Their acceptance and their praise comes from their work. People will be reading their work. They're appreciative and respectful of their work. That's what comes from it. They don't need this self-indulged, ego-fragile, event to praise themselves. They wouldn't need to applaud themselves like a bunch of monkeys. Yeah! And you know for a fact that the biggest liars in society come from, number one, the federal government, and number two, the media that's reporting on it. Because the media is just repeating what the federal government is telling them to repeat. And then that gets shivved to the masses, and you get manipulated and brainwashed to believe that a news organization like CNN or MSNBC or any of these other corporate outlets are telling you the truth. Because why would CNN lie to me when it's a news organization? It has news in the name there. Why would they lie to me? What would they have to gain from it other than ratings? Other than other business practices which corporations get indulged with corporate media? That was the whole point of it. The fact that Ted Koppel, or was it Ted Koppel or is it Ted Turner? One of the Teds had explained to Brian Seltzer of reliable sources that in a conference that the whole purpose of corporate media is advertising, it's ratings, it's to glue you to the screens. It's not to inform people. Information, people don't care. We just want to glue them with siphoning them with scandals and infotainment and celebrities and gossip and betrayal and this and that and the others. And then sell you war and fearmonger people into those wars. Information you can get everywhere. But, in order for us to get ratings, we got to make it sound convincing. Which is why they sold you Russiagate for how many years? That's why they lied to you about Ukraine. That's why they lied to you about January 6th. That's why they lied to you about COVID. That's why they lied to you about Israel, Gaza. That's why they lied to you ever since. To get your eyes glued to the screen at their scandals that they're repeating from talking heads, their producers that are getting dictated by the intelligence services and the White House. So what exactly are they applauding for? What exactly do they need to applaud for? Considering the fact that this man alone Gonzo Lira, who was a Chilean American journalist who told us the truth about the Russian invasion of Ukraine, told us the history of why Russia's invaded, told us everything that he knew and investigated and reported about Ukraine and the tensions going on over there. And he risked his life to the point of his vengeful death in Ukraine, and not a single word was said at the White House Correspondents' Dinner that's supposed to be praising journalists. That is such a mockery, such a goddamn betrayal of journalistic ethics an event like that is. That is someone who actually sacrificed something to get the story out. Or Julian Assange, or Aaron Mate, or Max Blumenthal. None of those people ever get invited or praised or welcomed. They're journalists. They have done more credible work in just their fingertip than Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes or Lawrence O'Donnell or Anderson Cooper or any of them have done in their lifetime. Because they actually are willing to report, and they're not ego fragile. They're not concerned about their popularity status or their celebrity stature or making sure they get to an event like this. They're telling you the story to tell you the story. That's it. That's their only objective. They're not climbing the career ladder. They don't care about access to different spots or different people. They don't care about interviewing the royal family just cuz, or being friends with Hillary Clinton just cuz. They're providing information because that is their number one job. Their number one job is to bring you the information, and they will do anything that they can to do so. That's what real journalism is. And none of those people are journalists, which is why they're able to applaud themselves by saying how heroic they are for attending this event. So, and then speaking of, lying to you about horrific scenarios to make believe and fearmonger people, Joe Biden once again brings up January 6th. Because anytime we could scare people to think that half the country are a bunch of deplorables, half of the country are Nazis, half the country is against you, half the country is this, half the country. January 6th is always their go-to example. January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. You remember when people stormed the Capitol building and made a huge betrayal against democracy? Remember when people came in and then walked around the Capitol taking selfies? Oh, such a betrayal to democracy. I felt threatened that day. And then we discovered the truth. We revealed the FBI insider pact that went along with January 6th, that Nancy Pelosi's daughter was orchestrating it like a director for a film, orchestrating that people need to storm in the Capitol, that in order to have a proper insurrection, they need to have more guns. And you think with a bunch of Second Amendment nuts, if they really want to overturn government and threaten democracy, would they not remember to bring guns? But here's Joe Biden restating January 6th once again to make himself look good, give him a pat on the back himself for not indicting that.
On the third anniversary of January 6th, I went to Valley Forge, and I said the most urgent question of our time is whether democracy is still the sacred cause of America. That is the question the American people must answer this year. And you, the free press, play a critical role in making sure the American people have the information they need to make an informed decision. The defeated former president has made no secret of his attack on our democracy. He said he wants to be a dictator on day one, and so much.
Yes. Donald Trump having a rally just before people came into the Capitol. Such a threat to democracy compared to now when Joe Biden is actually getting the FBI to raid his political opponents' homes and arrest them. That's not a threat to democracy, that you're eliminating your competition, that you're censoring out your critics. That's supposed to be everything that Donald Trump was supposed to be doing in his 4-year run. That was everything we were told in 2016. We were told that Donald Trump was going to be this megalomaniac that wanted a full dictatorship, a lockdown on speech and democracy, and don't want people to vote their conscience and have no freedoms. You're going to be living in Donald Trump's America. We were told this on 2016, and here it is happening in Joe Biden's America. Joe Biden's the sole fathering America that he's now ordering the prosecution and the silence and elimination of his political opponents. And not a single person in that gallery ever reported on that. Because again, all they care about is themselves. All they care about is access. Just as Glenn Greenwald states, these are attention-seeking whores that just want to climb the career ladder and don't give a crap about ethics or morals or their self-identity. They are completely useless without people like Joe Biden. They're completely useless without the intelligence agencies telling them what to say on camera, telling them how to operate as a journalist, pose as a journalist, but really be a stenographer. Because the one person that actually told us what happened on January 6th, Tucker Carlson, he got vilified from Fox News. He got vilified from Rupert Murdoch from that and telling you about COVID, telling you about Syria, telling you about all these important facts and information that you were left out from the American public because they don't want you to be informed. They don't want you to be informed. They want people to be conformed into their line, into their agenda, and go with the flow. Go with the status quo. Because if you think outside the box, you're demonized as a hatred of America. You're bigoted against America. You're xenophobic. You're racist. You're this. You're that. You're a domestic terrorist. You're deplorable. You must hate everything America stands for.
Much more. He tells supporters he is their revenge and retribution. When in God's name have you ever heard of another president say something like that? And he promised a bloodbath when he loses again. We have to take this seriously. 8 years ago.
Yeah, we should be taking that bloodbath comment seriously. Seriously, as in they undermined what he actually said and clipped out that clip purposely to exploit people to think that Donald Trump meant a actual physical bloodbath. No, what he meant was it was an economical bloodbath because he was referring to the automotive workers, saying that under Joe Biden, they castrated the manufacturing industry. And if they continue on with Joe Biden, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath for the auto industry economically, which is a correct term that all marketeurs and anyone in business has always used since this dawning of business practices. But they purposely manipulated you to think that Donald Trump actually meant a physical bloodbath and refer that back to January 6th. Again, to fearmonger people to think that half the country is against you. The people that are truly against you are nefarious pricks like him. And that entire room is against you. Your friends, your families, your neighbors, they're not invited to this. They're on your side. You're just being told otherwise because these people are the actual nefarious pricks that are against you. And they're applying themselves for doing it.
You could have written off it as just Trump talk, but no longer, not after January 6th. I'm sincerely not asking of you to take sides, but asking you to rise up to the seriousness of the moment. Move past the horse race numbers and the gotcha moments and the distractions, the sideshows that have come to dominate and sensationalize our politics. And focus on what's actually at stake. And I think in your hearts you know what's at stake. The stakes couldn't be higher.
So, there's Joe Biden once again propagandizing, manipulating, and basically giving that wet, sloppy, creepy Uncle Kiss to the press gallery there that gets invited to this pathetic charade of an event to think that they're actually doing, the best for the people, doing the people's work by sacrificing themselves. That's the most hilarious thing. They sacrifice themselves every single day to lie, manipulate, and make us feel like crap. Every single day. Meanwhile, people that are actually informing us and uniting us and finding common goals within one another, they're the ones being they're the ones being sacrificed. They're the ones being exploited. They're the ones being silenced out. They're the ones that are getting thrown under the bus harshly by people like him. This is the threat to democracy. This is the threat to the functioning American society. Is people like him that are vilifying half the country purposely to manipulate the rest of the country into a distraction and basically turn us into a civil war nation while they continue on their criminal activity, like funding a genocide, like siphoning out the country, like so much inflation that you barely have any means to live. They continue on their criminal, psychotic, epic insanity while we get distracted by the wokeness and the race baiting and the vilification and January 6th and this and that and the other. And they pat themselves on the back thinking that they did a great job. It is just a sickening goddamn place. It's a big giant club, and you and I ain't in it. George Carlin, always right, even beyond the grave.